Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Beginner's Guide. Um, this was made by, I don't think it's made by the same people as Stanley Parable, but I think it's kind of similar in idea. Actually, it might be made by the same people that made Stanley Parable. Anyways, I know nothing about this game, which makes it kind of exciting.
Hi there. Thank you very much for playing the Beginner's Guide. My name is
Hello.
Davey Reedon. I wrote the Stanley Parable, and while
Oh, we
that
figured
game
it
tells
out!
a pretty absurd story, today I'm going to tell you about a series of events that happened between 2008 and 2011. We're going to look at the games made by a friend of mine named Coda. Now, these games mean a lot to me. I met Coda in early 2009 at a time when I was really struggling with some personal stuff, and his work pointed me in a very powerful direction. I found it to be a good reference point for the kinds of creative works that I wanted to make. So, just to start you off, this is, I think, the first game he ever made. It's a level for Counter-Strike. You can walk around here, by the way. And mostly it's just Coda learning the basics of building a 3D environment. But what I like is that even though he starts from the simple aesthetic of a desert town, he then scatters these colorful abstract blobs and impossible floating crates around the level. And of course, it destroys the illusion that this actually is a desert town, and instead this level becomes a kind of calling card from its creator. It's like a reminder that this video game was constructed by a real person. And it kind of makes you wonder, what was going through his head as he was building this? This is what I like about all of Coda's games. I mean, not that they're all fascinating as games, but that they are all going to give us access to their creator. I want us to see past the games themselves. I want to get to know who this human being really is. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. So, it's 2008, Coda starts making these games, and he never releases any of them. He doesn't put them onto the internet, he just makes them and then immediately abandons them, and they sit on his computer forever.
Just like
And I
me
think
for
he really
real.
understood this image of himself as a recluse. At one point, he jokingly renamed his computer's recycling bin to Important Games Folder. So, this was just how he worked. He tended to crank them out one after the other without even really pausing to try to understand what he had just made, until suddenly one day, he just stopped. In 2011, that was it. He made his last game, and then he hasn't made another one since. And that's why I've taken this opportunity to gather all of his work together, is because I find his games powerful and interesting, and I'd like this collection to reach him, to maybe encourage him to start creating again. And if the people like you who play this also happen to find his work interesting, then I'm sure it'll just send that much stronger of a message of encouragement to Coda. So thanks for joining me on this. If you have a particular interpretation that I haven't mentioned here, or if you just need to get in touch, you can email me at daveyWreden@gmail.com. Okay, that's about it for introduction. Let's take a look at Coda's first proper game. As each game is loading, I'll show you the date that it was completed. This first one was made in November 2008.
Wow, that's really interesting that you can't move the camera left or right. Something I haven't really seen before in a game. It's like forcing you to look on at this particular perspective. Anyways, I'll respond to you now that he stopped talking. Realize you could have this on in the background with all these base games. Maybe you'll play the big catch. Um, yeah, I don't know. I tried the big catch. My computer kind of freaked out. I guess I could try it again. Um, yeah, I don't really want to explode my computer though. Chalky core. Oh, that's not intentional. It's not intentional. You sure?
Warning. Whisper machine active. Shift destruction imminent.
This
Oh,
game is called Escape from Whisper, and it's
I'm
one of
using
the more
mouse and
generic
keyboard now.
games you'll see from Coda.
That's very strange. Wait, hold on. Can I restart? This chat option. Alright, let's try again. Move forward. Move left. Look up. Look left. Interact / menu select. Go back a menu. Pause. Chat option 1. Okay, 1 is right. 2 is left. 3 is X, I guess? Okay. Oh, shit. Okay, maybe don't use the Xbox controller for this game then, is the message here. Huh. Lol. It's okay, very gameplay light. I got a new controller, and then the first 2 games I play with it are Void Stranger and this one that doesn't work with gamepad. Should I check if it's fixed? Oh, it is fixed. So at least it saved my input.
Warning. Whisper machine active. Shift destruction imminent.
Whoa, you can.
This game is called Escape from Whisper.
Maybe I will just.
And it's one of the more generic games you'll see from Coda.
The camera, it's kind of like a little too fast, but I don't think there's an option to change that.
You can click to fire the gun.
No, I can't kill the rocks. I like it how the thing I like about the game you said was just a bug.
Security call breached. Hostile alien life form inbound.
It kinda looks like this game was abandoned mid-development. For instance, you have this gun, which you'd think would indicate that there are supposed to be monsters or enemies somewhere, but then clearly there are no enemies anywhere. You can't even reload the gun when you run out of bullets. But ultimately we don't really know. Maybe Coda thought that actually it was complete the way that it is. And I think that we should talk about his games for what they are, rather than for what they're not.
Enemy force neutralized. Begin ship evacuation.
I'm restarting.
Warning. Whisper machine active.
This time we're getting through that door.
This game is called Escape from Whisper, and it's one of the more generic games you'll see from Coda.
Security call breached. Hostile alien life form inbound.
Oh,
It
you
kinda
can't
looks
get in
like
there.
this game was abandoned mid-development.
But this one, it looked
For
like you
instance,
could.
you have this gun, which you'd think would indicate that there are supposed to be monsters or enemies somewhere, but then clearly there are no enemies anywhere. You can't even reload the gun when you run out of
No, you
bullets.
can't.
But ultimately we don't really know.
I think these
Maybe
doors
Coda
are supposed
thought
to be
that
enemy
actually it was
spawners.
complete the
I
way
think
that
he's
it
right
is.
about that.
And I think that we should talk about his games for what they are, rather than for what they're not.
Enemy
I love
force
how you can see the
neutralized.
bottom of the
Begin
universe
ship
from this room.
evacuation.
Imagine if it's just like a gray plane like that. Stars are pretty beautiful here. Whoa. I wonder how much of this is like original assets. Very interesting. Can I shoot the glass? No. Alright, I'll try to conserve the rest of my ammo. Interesting. Little
Apparently
room
the
here.
space station has a labyrinth on it. Sure, I don't know. There's really no reason for it that I've ever been able to discern, so in the interest of time, I'm just gonna skip you on past it.
No! Wait, can I go back?
Or if you'd really like to solve the labyrinth, you're welcome to do that too.
Wow, this really is a labyrinth. That's so funny that he just solves it for you. Oh, I remember this one. This was part of the main one, I think. The main hallway. Oops. I like it how he seems like taken aback by it. Like, oh, you're doing that, okay. Look at this! Who designed? I don't think that's non-Euclidean, I think that does fit. It's just a very funny dead end. Ow, my face. Alright, I don't think I'm gonna find my way back to the hallway. I think I just have to continue on.
Okay, this is the part that's interesting. The game has this narrative about the whisper machine and how it has to be turned off, and then you get to the engine room.
Hey, you there, in the engine room. You could save us all. That beam is powering the whisper machine. We could disrupt it by
Half-Life.
introducing a great enough heat signature. If your body could stop the beam. It's so much to ask, but for all of our lives, would you do it? Could you give yourself?
Yeehaw!
Let me pause here for a second. What you just experienced, stepping into the beam and then dying, is probably what Coda had initially intended when he was developing this level. But when he first compiles and plays it, something goes wrong. There's a bug somewhere. And this is what happens instead. The beam causes you to start floating. And this is an important moment for him. Because yes, this is technically a glitch, but Coda identifies something human about it, like how small it makes you feel in the face of this larger chaotic system. Or this floating could be the afterlife, a peaceful place, juxtaposed against all of the hysteria that you've just had to traverse. I don't even know. I have no idea what he was thinking, but what's clear is that after making this, something lodges itself in his brain. He wants to do more of these really weird and experimental designs. So he stops work on this and moves on to a stream of tiny little games that go in all sorts of directions. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first game he made after leaving this one behind.
That's cool. Oh my god, I can't remember what game it was, but one of the games in LSD, not LSD Dream Simulator, LSD Game Jam had something very similar to this room.
So try walking backwards.
Except I think it was like inverted colors, everything was like blues and greens.
Yep.
Oh.
In this game, you can only walk backwards.
This is kind of a neat idea for a horror game, actually.
So it's a short and relatively minimalist experiment combining motion and narrative. It is less advanced than the previous game, but actually it seems to be more focused, more complete. Code is trying to give it a unique voice rather than simply basing it on a pre-existing trope.
Interesting. This is kind of sick, actually. She stops and looks. It becomes clear. Alright. But if the future is always behind her, how will she find the strength to confront it?
It's a short little thought, it says what it wants to say, and then it ends. Didn't need anything more than that.
That's pretty
Which
cool.
to me is why it works, because it gets out quick. Okay, next one.
Thunderman! Oh! He's like a small flashlight and there's a bunch of invisible walls. You love the beginner's guide. Slubber Dan, you are now entering. Pizza
And that's
City.
it. Okay, the meaning of this game won't be clear just yet. Please be patient with me for a few more games, and I promise you'll see what makes it interesting.
Nonsense in nearly
Oftentimes,
every
Coda would
direction.
put bizarre titles like this one at the start of his games. I wish I'd known him at the time that he was making these early games. He would really only talk to me about his work as he was making it. Once he stopped work on a game, like, that was it. It was dead to him. And I don't agree with that at all, but what are you gonna do?
The game has great atmosphere. Oh, this is the Unity
I know it's
default
tempting, but there's
skybox.
actually nothing over here. Sorry.
This is what happens in Unity when you just don't put a skybox, I think. That's neat. That's something game devs would recognize. I do want to check that other one, though. There might be more dialogue. Can you 100% a walking sim? Man, though, a horror game where you could only walk backwards sounds so good. That's actually like a crazy good idea. You would have to like really listen. Maybe you would have like a mirror upgrade you get midway through that you have to look at to see what's behind you, which is really in front of you. Alright, let's try the stairs. What a thrill. I'm searching for meaning to bow. What a fear in my heart. You're so
Once you've been slowed to an
supreme.
absolute crawl, the door at the top of the stairs opens. So why, if Coda's not showing these games to anyone, why bother opening the door at all? Well, to show you, I'm modifying the game here so that when you press the use key on your gamepad, it'll bring you back up to full speed so you can enter the door for yourself.
Just a little further, I can make it without needing to press the use key on my gamepad. Really interesting that earlier it gave me a keyboard thing because they said click to shoot. But now the voice line switched to gamepad. Maybe it took like a level or two for it to realize. What a fear in my heart. You're so supreme. I give my life, not for honor, but for you. I'm still in a dream, snake eater. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. On that farm he had a dog, E-I-E-I-O. A woof woof here and a bark bark there, here a woof there, bark everywhere, woof woof. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. On that farm he had a cow, E-I-E-I-O. With a moo moo here and a moo moo there, here a moo, there a moo, everywhere a moo moo. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on that farm he had a sheep, E-I-E-I-O. With a sheep here, what's... They go ba, with a ba ba here and a ba ba there, here a ba, there a ba, everywhere a ba ba. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. We're so close. And on that farm he had a chicken, E-I-E-I-O. With a bok bok here and a bok bok there, here a bok, there a bok, everywhere a bok bok. I did just watch The Boys, which is why that song is stuck in my head. Because one of the end credits is that. For some reason it's the only one that Amazon didn't automatically shoot me out. Normally it tries to hurry you on to the next episode. Do you think anyone else has ever done this? Or do you think they just press the button? You have based. Oh, the door closed. Oh. The game automatically quits when you collect them all.
A room that's warm and nice and filled with little ideas for games.
Stand on an egg staring at a bear for 3 hours. That's a
Coda
game.
would often tell me that he didn't mind if people thought of him as cold or distant. He said that he knew that he was actually a vibrant and compassionate person, but that it takes time to really see that. It can be a very slow climb to get there.
Oh, these are overriding each other. No! Put me back in. Put me back in. I didn't have time to read it all, and he was talking over it. Some of those ideas seem pretty good. IKEA for a
This is
game,
new
you
for
play as a
Coda.
bullet bill.
It's an actual puzzle. Go ahead and see if you can solve it.
Is it just hit the lever? Tunic puzzle where you have to walk into every wall. I see.
Don't forget that solution, because we're going to see this puzzle again soon. We're gonna see it a lot.
Oh, okay. I like how happy he sounded when he said, "We're gonna see it a lot." You're my friend now. We're getting soft tacos later. Love these lights. This game has such good atmosphere.
So that seems to be it, right? You walk down a corridor, you solve a puzzle, you get to the end. Simple enough. Alright, now I'm going to modify the game again, so that when you press the use key on your gamepad, it'll remove all of the walls from this room.
What?
How about that? There was more to it than we had any way of knowing. I actually find it funny that this game comes after the Stairs game, since they essentially convey the opposite idea. So, in the Stairs game, a dull exterior concealed a rich interior. And then, in this level, a dull interior hides this fantastic outer world. Either way, I think that the point is the same, is that most of the time you don't get to know what you're missing, or even that you're missing anything. That's not your role as a player. So if your role here is not to understand, then what is it?
Oh, we're back. Oh, does this one have more if you get rid of the walls? You're now exiting.
Aha! So, this, combined with the entering game from earlier, tells us that Coda believes his games are connected somehow. It could even be that the Stairs game and the puzzle game are literally connected in between this and the entering game. There's a bigger picture that all of his games are meant to play a role in, some larger meaning that we won't be able to grasp until we've seen all of them. And once we have, we can step back and start to understand what exactly
This game,
that bigger picture
what it's
is.
like hinting at, is why I'm so excited for UFO 50. Like, all these little games combining to be like a big thing. Oh, look at that. That's very Stanley Parable. Like, I think there's a cabin exactly like that in 2. You can turn off the
Let's
narration
talk about
now.
video game development for a second. Every video game runs on what's called an engine, which determines what the game can and cannot do. So in other words, the engine is a set of tools for game development. To make all of these games, Coda is using an engine called Source. Like all engines, Source has certain things that it does well, and it has certain things that it does poorly. One of the things that it does very well is boxy linear corridors. That's why so many of Coda's games are set in these large, flat, empty rooms, is just because he's working with what the engine does well.
Oh.
The tools available to the creator shape what kinds of creative work they're going to end up making. You might consider paying attention to the architecture in Coda's games to notice how they seem to stem from an engine that's very good at producing linear, boxy corridors.
Wow. Whoa! I went so fast there. Some sort of glass around the middle here. Speedrun. I don't think there's any way out of this. Let's keep going. Whoa. It's kind of interesting how, like, that little thing of the thing closing by itself is, like, so spooky. I think there are... Yeah. There's a lot more you can do with horror. A lot of them tend to be just screamy, going crazy type of things. But I like the subtleness. I think I could have gotten off early there. Oh, visible walls. Okay. Dead end?
This prison, funny enough, in Coda's original design, the doors stayed shut for a full hour before letting you go. If you don't mind, I think we're gonna skip that.
Alright, we'll skip it.
This is something that he and I used to argue about a lot. You know, whether a game ought to actually be playable. There isn't anything if no one can get through it. And I would always defend that, you know, all this work goes into the game, why not make it playable and accessible? And so we just got into heated arguments over it, and there was one time that after one of these conversations, he went home, and a day or two later, he sent me a zip file entitled Playable Games that was full of hundreds of individual games each of which was just an empty box that you walked around in and nothing else. Believe me, I played every single one of those just to find out if there was like a gag hidden somewhere. There wasn't.
That's so good. Oh man. One day you want to play the hour-long cell one? I think I'm good on that one, but... I mean, seeing what people watch... People don't really just do anything. Look at this, so cool. Hi, Carl.
It's the puzzle again, with the exact same solution as the last time.
You didn't have to spoil it for me, big dog.
There's still no clear indication of what makes this puzzle so special that Coda is going to return to it over and over. But I promise I'll share with you my interpretation very shortly.
Chocolate bar door. How do I bar the door? Oh, you're saying it looks like a chocolate bar. Yeah, it looks like Hershey's. So true. Architecture in games is so cool. Look how realistic that texture is.
Here, Coda begins using a kind of dialogue system that he fashioned out of the engine's chat capabilities. Use the buttons on your gamepad to respond.
What is this music, man? Shit's loud. I don't think it's that loud. Do you think it's too loud, Kiri? Kiwi? What was up there? There's a world stamped with whiteness, and Norva's prison, floating colored blocks. Do you remember what the buttons I pressed for? I guess I could just use the numbers on my keyboard. Let's say enormous prison. I'll be honest with them. I won't actually let you tell them. That's interesting. Thanks for the military time. I don't remember. It was a really hard puzzle, to be honest. Can you think harder? What happens if I press a button? Okay. That's the end of the interaction. Sorry, loser. Oh, the door's gone! Just like Stanley Parable. Oh, hey guys. Alright, see you later, guys. The long staircase.
And so we make one last descent down to the final floor of the level.
Huh. Tiny corridor. This is my hole. It was made for me. Wait, look at this
It's a
tiny gap.
lamppost. Okay, I can't tell you quite why, but for some reason, Coda fixates on this lamppost. It's going to appear at the end of every single one of his games from here on out. I'll tell you what I think. I think that up to this point, he's been making really strange and abstract games with no clear purpose, and maybe you can only float around in that headspace for so long. Because now he wants something to hold on to. He wants a reference point. He wants the work to be leading to something. He wants a destination, which is what this lamppost is. It's a destination. We're gonna see it in the work as well. His games are just gonna become a lot more cohesive, a lot more fully developed, with more of a clear idea behind them. And as we go, that idea will get clearer and clearer and clearer.
Okay, Carl. Who's edgy boy? Who's my little edgy boy? This game is connected to the internet. If you walk around, you can leave notes. All notes you see are left by other oh no! Me. Is that skybox again? How do I interact? Oh, nice room. Not. I wonder if these are fake.
I'm sure you can deduce this, but this game is not connected to the internet. All of the notes that you're gonna see have been written by Coda. This was actually the first game of his that I ever played. This was shortly after I met him at a
Said Oder Bloke. Music ist mein Lieblingsfach.
weekend game jam in Sacramento, where I grew up.
English
I
Oder
saw him
Bloke.
working on this very level, and it was just so different from anything that anyone else was doing. So right away I was like, I have to be friends with this person. In retrospect, I think I was probably a bit too pushy, trying to get his attention. I was over-enthusiastic. But he was very gracious about it and very patient with me. And I cooled off eventually.
Wow, the biggest fan. Oh, this is it. This is the reason I bought this game, is because I saw someone playing and looking at these notes in this level. Whoa, holy shit. You guys hear me? Oh, exclamation point. Oh, was I watching you play it? I don't remember who I was watching play it. Oh, my video, nice.
Oh, feel free to skip over any of these notes if they're not doing anything for you. Nothing extra is going to happen if you read all of them. Either way, to me they convey a sense of loneliness. I see this person who's filled with thoughts and feelings and beliefs and has no way to express them except as scattered and unheard voices in a game that wasn't meant to be played.
Balls.
But it's ironic, isn't it? That in playing this game and seeing how alone Coda often felt, that we get to know him better and actually kind of connect with him. And I have to be honest with you, this idea is really seductive to me. That I could just play someone's game and see the voices in their head and get to know them better and have to do less of the messy in-person socializing. I could just get to know you through your work. I think this is why I always liked Coda's games so much, is because it felt like they let me have that connection. I felt as though he was inviting me personally into his world. And then I feel less lonely too.
Cool Cavern, bro. This summer, you will believe blue speech bubbles can talk. Too many messages in this area. Why? Rather be doing literally anything other than... Carl, you're in this! They put you in the game. The guy over there wrote much wrong. It's so true. Yeah, I can type here. Space! It'd be kind of interesting to see, like, an older version of this game, where it, like, starts off with text adventure, and then kind of goes on. I guess... What's that game by Daniel Mullins that did something similar? The Hex? Where you had characters from all these different video games, and one of them was from, like, a really old game. It was, like, a Mario parody, and they had, like, a Mortal Kombat character and stuff. What the shit is this cavern? That's you, Carl. Boring. Can assure you guaranteed that there's an acorn somewhere here in this place and the sailors are looking for it. Gotta find the acorn. Hey guys, just looking for someone to talk with. Last online 3 years ago. I refuse to believe. Butt-ass butt. I need to go to the freaking bathroom. You know what? Me too. I'm a BRB. Alright, gamers. We have officially lost Carl. Goodbye, Carl. Mentally, I'm in Ohio. Almost good enough to be a Carl command, not quite. Maybe next time. So, I ate a pizza. Recognize me, please. Carl. There's nothing here, go back. Don't listen to that guy. Until I'm in Ohio. So true. A free t-shirt. Need other side door, why you so? Door how open? Open sesame. Makes game, includes door, cannot open door, thanks. I get how people on the internet talk. Someday I will meet the person who made this. That's the narrator. Just creepily staring from across it. Oh, look at that. I help people because of the internal good feeling I get. New room? Do you hear the chimes? Very much like to be desired. Scared of writing something, don't want to feel judged. Not very crowded here. Congratulations. Can go in here, I think. Eh, don't bother. Game where you leave notes and suddenly everyone's a poet. This is where I get off. There's a couple beatings you could take from that. I'm gonna assume it means that they leave. I failed to write anything here. I am compelled. Stop! Turn back! Proceeding further will only result in misery. Take my hand, let's jump together. Oh, invisible wall. Cabbage shapes our nation. What is that painting? It does not matter if you ever get over there. You don't talk about me that way. You're a good game. It's so true. So many of the game concepts and aesthetics in this game really click with me. It's very inspiring. Yeah. It's so cool seeing like the Squid Game stairs. I don't know if there's a name for that. I guess MC Escher kind of did something like that. But there's just like this big, wide open plane. I'm trying to think of anything else that did something like this. I can't really think of any. Oh, there's that big room in Stanley Parable with the buttons. I think this is not going anywhere. Next time I will do better. I need someone to talk to. Aww. They really get the... This is a note. The internet. Don't listen to the other notes. Oh, we can get over there. Let's go. I'm not safe. Today I learned you cannot fall off. Ethical. It's not ethical to fall off. Saw a person walking down there, now it won't come back. Herobrine! That's how Herobrine got started. Devil Tower Star. Well done, all of you. Painting, what does it mean? This is kind of a pretty painting. Stop faking it. Art. Hey guys, how's it going? Just saying. I should title the video that. Help, I'm trying to speak. I see up close and perfect from far away. Up here it just looks like dots. Cabbage shapes our nation. We will all die someday. Stop pretending you are other people. Spoilers, it doesn't mean anything. Two types of people. Spoilers, it doesn't mean anything. And, up here it just looks like dots. Oh wait, wasn't there one that was like... talking about it in a somewhat nuanced way? Oh, I missed one. Whoever made this has issues. It's about how the game is pretentious and you all suck. Devil Tower Star. Why do people keep saying that? It was himself the most horrible creature. I'll feel real someday. Well, I'm here now. Yeah, we're all here now. Must be a reason for it, though. His terrible secret, he kept it well. I beat the game! More room?
At the end of this level, we're going to see the puzzle again. And here, I'll tell you what I think the puzzle means. Each of these games represents an idea that was on Coda's mind at the time that he was making it. And the puzzle is a way of closing the door on a previous chapter of his life before moving on to the next one.
What would I write in my note? Hey guys, watch Chocolate Cake 5000 on YouTube. What was that sound? Screen kind of changed there for a sec. That was weird. I have never told anyone. You're telling me. I wish there were notes in the real world. That would be kind of sick. There's definitely noise.
In each of his games, after exploring a theme that, he might find difficult, Coda can then place this puzzle that he knows has a reliable solution, he understands exactly how it works, and so it gives him a simple mechanism for moving on.
Developer answers, please.
And because there's this dark area between the doors, a space between spaces, before you move on, you get to pause. Just for a moment, a few seconds to reflect on and let go of the events that led you here. To step back and connect the pieces together. To grasp at that elusive bigger picture.
There is no second switch. I want to check something. Oh! Yay, I soft-locked myself from going back. Well, that explains what the noise was. Porn stars died
Okay,
too.
this one is tough. It's gonna kind of just spin its own wheels for a few minutes. Hang with it.
Pyramid's nice.
See, like, this is it. The whole game. And there's nothing that's particularly interesting about it. You just walk to the end of a hallway. Except, for some reason, Coda gets really fixated on this prison that has all of this modern furniture. And I don't know why, but he decides he needs to revisit this prison. He's gonna start over, use the same assets, turn it into something else. Okay, cool. Here's version 2.
Illusion of choice. Modern design. I think that's true. It's probably true. Well,
There's a bit more to this one, but still, it's not really communicating anything. It's kind of just weird for weirdness' sake. So, okay, he closes it out and starts over. This time he comes at the prison idea from a different direction.
I'm gonna walk backward. Black screen jump scare. Or if I can go out of order here. No, I don't think so. Okay. Huh. Good to know. Ah, black screen jump scare.
And of course, now the table is gone and you can't begin the chain of events to escape.
Ah!
Here's a version
Looks
where
like
there
I
are
like
no
to.
bars, but you can't actually get to the well. And then a version where the inside of the prison is the outside and the outside is the inside. Let me just blink you real quick through a few more of these. I mean, he really unloaded on this prison idea. There's nearly a dozen of them. Personally, I think it's awful to watch this, to see a person basically unraveling through their work. And for what? Like, at what point do you just go, maybe there are game ideas other than this prison that I could be working on? But Coda
Kinda
doesn't
like it.
have that voice telling you to stop, that particular mechanism of defense against yourself. Without it, you just spiral. And so he keeps going and going and going and going and going, and then he hits on something. And he likes it. And that's it. He's done. He stops making prisons. This is the very last version of the prison game that he created. And the reason I think it works is that the prison is not actually in it.
Prison game with no prison? Splendid. Oh, my dog hates prison game. Hedge maze? Oh, that's the lamppost that signifies the end, so let's look around a bit more. Do kind of get the feeling this is just it, though. Freddy Fazbear.
It's a conversation. And so this is what Coda wants, is to be able to talk to someone, to share what's on his mind, and to get some good advice from someone who knows. But the irony is that even in this scenario, you're still talking to yourself. You know, all of these games so far are Coda talking to himself.
Also,
I can see why he considers this a fitting conclusion to the prison games. After all of the obsession and frustration, just to be told by someone you can trust that things are going to be okay. Wouldn't that be nice? So what would it look like if Coda wanted to make a game about talking to someone other than himself?
that is
To
very
me,
dark
this
back there.
environment is meant to represent Coda's puzzle, with the two doors on either side and a dark transitional space between. Just so you're aware, nothing will happen up here until you've been inside the house.
Interesting. It's another one of those listen cubes. Bean.
you'll notice that the quality of the art is a step up from previous games, including this new and improved chat system, which he started using from this point on. From here on out, he begins putting much more effort into the visual polish of his work, and this particular game took 2 months to create as a result.
Music. Wow, what a weird house.
After the intense set of prison games, this house cleaning level almost feels like cleansing. It's the moment after a particularly difficult or traumatic experience where you just need to let it sit and digest inside of you, and eventually cohere into something meaningful. I know that Coda really liked this game. Of all of his work, actually, this was the only one that he called me up to ask me to come over and look at it. This was during a period of a few months where he was like grossly happy all the time, just walked around with a constant smile on his face.
Yeah, this is a good game.
I'm glad he made this. I'm glad he found some peace. But, of course, it can't last. The music stops, your companion is gone, it's time to leave. The door at the top of the hill is now open as well. Again, you can't stay in the dark space for too long. You just can't. You have to keep moving. It's how you stay alive. Which is the whole point of the puzzle doors, right? That sooner or later you have to pick up and move. I really thought that was the point of it. This one gets a bit goofy. About halfway through the game, the perspective shifts. And you play as the teacher. And suddenly, you discover that your teacher is just as bigoted and afraid as you are. Oh, and also you can move around the classroom now.
Just as bigoted and afraid as you are. I like the black hole. Pretty.
I fell pretty hard for this one. I feel like it's one of the most relatable experiences that you can have. To assume that some other person is perfect and totally fulfilled in every way, and completely miss all of the little flaws that make them painfully human. I think about this game a lot these days. This one took a lot longer than all the others for Coda to make. It was 4 months between this and the last one. That's twice as long as it took him to make any other game before this, and it's not like it's particularly complex, so I remember I found that a little strange at the time.
Whoa. Happy, wise, successful, focused. Oh, Lamppost. That was a short game. go back and see if there's anything else out here. Oh, I can't get through. There's a little white seam under there.
The game ends with this eerie premonition of what's going to happen next in Coda's life. The solution to social anxiety, to fears of having to perform and having to chase success, the answer for Coda is to withdraw, to hide himself away. Which is what leads to scenarios like the stairs that slowed you down several games ago, where it just becomes harder and harder to access Coda's inner landscape because he keeps retreating. He just keeps backing away from possible connections to anyone other than himself. And to be honest, I didn't consider it very healthy when I first played this game. You know, it looked to me like he was trying to justify the idea of just disconnecting yourself from the world. And that wasn't what I wanted for him or for his games. Because I feel like a lot of his games are inviting me to connect with this person, to bring him closer. But what can you do? After this, Coda went off and took another 5 months to make a new game.
Are you supposed to actually play this with your eyes closed?
You should probably open your eyes if you haven't already. It's pretty much impossible to solve otherwise. And there is a solution, by the way.
Game pod?
Like I said, I was getting concerned. First off, he's never been this explicit in his work about exactly what he's thinking. So where's that coming from? But then even weirder, his work has potentially stopped being an outlet for him. Not like he's having trouble iterating on ideas, but he literally just can't think of new ideas anymore. And in person, he was being a lot more distant than usual. Like, you know how sometimes a person will just deflect anything that you say in order to keep themselves disconnected all the time? It was that kind of thing. Here was the point in my relationship with Coda where I really started to wonder if he needed my help in some way.
Truth Cube.
His games are going to get more desperate from here on out. After this game, it's almost 6 months before he finishes something new.
Hello, is it me you're looking for? Oh, cool.
If the last game featured Coda talking explicitly about his creative frustrations, this one turns it up to 11. Now, put yourself in my shoes playing this. Here's a friend whose work is exhibiting signs of struggle, frustration, anxiety, depression, even. And yet, still, he keeps making games. He keeps throwing himself into the grinder even when he clearly doesn't have the energy for it anymore. Why? What is it for?
I hit 3 there, by the way. Hey, it's a Tori.
Because from my perspective at the time and just what I knew of him, this was a result of how isolated he was. He was in his own little bubble, just sitting at his computer all day, not really showing these games to anyone, not releasing them onto the internet, and so he didn't have anyone outside of himself to connect with. He had no outlet to ground himself on.
Hard.
You can't talk yourself out of loneliness. It doesn't work that way. You can't be the one writing both the questions and the answers. Then there's no movement. Then there's no circulation. If all of your anxieties are being channeled into your work, then if the work ever fails, you have no backup and you're just going to crash. Seeing this game at the time that he made it, it looked really unhealthy to me. I was watching him do this to himself, and I hated it. I hated seeing him so trapped. It's like, video games are not worth this amount of suffering. This is someone I really cared about. And I used to get so much joy out of seeing him create. For him to suddenly become angry and frustrated like this, it was the worst thing for me. I don't know. This is what I felt at the time. I don't know how else to explain it. I wanted it to stop more than anything. I had never felt so rotten. I needed more than I had ever needed anything for this to stop.
Wow.
But it didn't stop. After finishing this one, Coda takes another 7 months and comes up with a new game.
Bye-bye, press.
And of course, it's the machine.
Oh? What is it?
So now the work is becoming self-destructive. And I'll tell you, at the time that I first played this game, shortly after he made it, here's what I'm thinking to myself. I'm thinking that Code is stuck in his own head, and that it's having a very negative effect on him, and that all he needs to do is just start showing his work to people, to get some actual feedback on his games. It might get him out of isolation. And so, as I'm thinking this, I realize that I could be the one to initiate it. Because it would never occur to Coda to start actively soliciting feedback, so what if I did it for him? If he could see the difference it would make to have more actual conversations with other human beings, would that bring him out of his mental spiral? Would it give him confidence in himself? Would it bring meaning back into his work?
Oh, is that what this game is?
So I started showing Coda's work to people. I took this one, and the islands which you just played, the theater, the notes, the house cleaning game, and some of the prison escape games. I brought them to people that I knew and trusted. I asked their opinions. And the great part is that they really loved his games. You know, The point of it all was just to give him some external reference point, but they genuinely loved his work. There was nothing for him to be afraid of.
Was there supposed to be more to that dialogue? Maybe jumped down too soon. The level select. Now I'll keep playing.
Can you see why I felt like this was the right thing to do? Because it's the thing that I always feel like I need, to be told that my work is good, that I am good. When someone really connects with a thing that I've made, when they see themselves purely in my work, there's nothing that feels better. And I got to give that very same feeling to my friend. I did something... I really felt like I'd done something good, like I was a good person. I felt like there was a friend who was in trouble and was unhappy and maybe didn't like themselves, and I could fix it. If I could give him this gift, maybe I could fix the problem. When they told me how much they enjoyed his games, it was the best feeling. It was the absolute best feeling. It made me feel so happy, so beautifully, beautifully happy. So anyway, Coda finishes this game, and then really he just kind of takes off for a while. So this is June of 2011, and I didn't hear anything from him for several weeks, I guess. And so out of nowhere, one day I get an email, and it's got a private link to a new game of Coda's. This one is called The Tower, and to my knowledge, it's the last game that Coda ever made. So let's take a look.
I feel like sharing his games was probably the worst thing he could have done. I get the sentiment behind it, but...
And this is where I have trouble saying anything meaningful about Coda's work. Because more than anything else, the tower just feels distant. It feels like it's trying to distance itself from the world. It's a very cold game. This room actually has a maze in it. Except that all the walls of the maze are invisible. And then every time you touch one of the walls, there's this awful flashing and noise, so the experience is really miserable. The game goes beyond not being meant to be played, it actually seems to despise the player for trying to play it at all. But I do want to show you the rest of the level, so when you're ready to continue, press the use key on your gamepad, and I'll put a bridge over the maze.
I'm sure there's some secret if you actually solve the maze, but I'm not putting myself through that. That might be something I look up later.
And to be fair, it's not like this is the first game that's needed some modification to be playable. Like the house cleaning game. You know, that one used to actually loop the cleaning chores and you just cleaned a house forever. I had to cut it off so that you could exit the house and the game would actually end. But that game had an idea that it was actually trying to communicate. What's the deeper idea behind the invisible maze? The only way past this challenge is to randomly guess the 6-digit code. Like the invisible maze, it's frustrating
Bunch of 8s, I bet.
because it's the opposite of everything else that Coda has made. It doesn't encourage thought or engagement. It doesn't ask anything of me except a lot of my time. If I could have reached him during this time, then maybe I could have asked him, but I couldn't. I still don't really understand why this is here. I'll put the code on the ground for you here, though, so that we can move on. The switch to open this door is actually on the other side of the door, meaning that it's literally impossible to solve from this side. So even if you somehow brute forced your way through the first 2 challenges and you got to this point, there's actually just no way to progress. And it's scary for me, the idea of Coda cutting himself off entirely, just saying, that's it, that's the end of the conversation, not giving me any way to fix the problem. I feel like a failure, I guess, when I can't fix the problem. But I can open this door for you, so let me do that. Was I a failure for not understanding this game? I don't know why I would be. It's not like everything needs to have a solution, but I feel it somehow. I feel like I failed, and I don't understand why. I remember, it's June of 2011. I'm playing this for the very first time, and as I'm playing, I'm thinking to myself, I don't know this person. I have no idea who this person is. It wasn't the guy I knew, it wasn't my friend. I had come to so many conclusions from looking at all of his work up to this point, and then suddenly none of them... I had been trying to, though. That was the thing. For years, I was trying to get to know him, to understand who he actually was and what he stood for. I asked him so many times to please just tell me what his games mean to him. I asked him please to tell me what the 3 dots mean. And he wouldn't.
You love the
I
tower?
just felt so strongly that if I could have connected with him, that if I could have somehow made his work my own, that I would finally be once and for all happy. It was that I needed to see myself in someone else. I needed to be someone other than me. But he stopped
It is
and
nice.
left. And it felt somehow like I had failed.
It's like kind of off-putting, but it's kind of fun to explore.
Where did I screw up?
Oh. That's rough.
I'm the reason that you stopped making games, aren't I? It's because of what I did. I poisoned it for you.
Yeah. That's why you don't share private stuff.
I don't think I ever told you this, but when I took your work and I was showing it to people, it actually felt... it felt as though I were responsible for something important and valuable. And the people who played them, they treated me like I was important. They really listened and cared about what I had to say. Even though I was showing your work, I felt good about myself. Finally. For a moment, while I had that, I liked myself.
Oh.
And then you stopped, and I didn't have anything left to show people. I just had to be with myself. And as soon as that happened, there was no feeling at all. Nothing. Less than nothing. What does that mean?
Wow.
I'm afraid that I did something really stupid because I don't like myself.
Oh boy. This game took a sad turn. There's no lever.
That's why I'm releasing this collection of your work, is because I haven't been able to find any other way to reach you. I've tried everything. And so a part of me has hope that if I put this compilation out into the world, and if I put my name on it, that maybe enough people will play it so that it'll find its way to you, so that I can tell you that I'm sorry. I know I screwed up. If I apologize to you truly and deeply, will you start making games again? Please, I need to feel okay with myself again. And I always felt okay as long as I had your work to see myself in. I mean, is something wrong with me? Because I know that I did an awful thing, and I'm doing it again right now. Like, I'm showing people your work, but I can't stop myself from doing it. That's how badly I need to feel something again, like I'm an addict. There has to be something wrong with me. Can I apologize? What if I tell you I was wrong? Will that work? Will that fix it? I don't know. I don't think it will, but there's nothing else that I can do. Just tell me what you want. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please, start making games again. Please help me. Please give me some of whatever it is that makes you complete. I want whatever that wholeness is that you just summoned out of nothing and you put into your work. You were complete in some way that I never was. And I want to know I want to know how to be a good person. I want to know how not to hate myself. Please. I'm fading, and all I want is to know that I'm going to be okay.
Huh.
More love, more praise, more people telling me that I'm good. Always more. It's like a disease.
There's a song at the end of Childish Gambino's album Camp, where he confesses his love to a girl on the bus, and then she tells the bullies, and he says, "You took something that was just for you, and you made it for everyone. So I learned to cut out the middleman, just tell everyone everything, and then I can't be hurt." I'm paraphrasing, but kind of reminds me of that. Yeah, this is a nice area. That was a pretty brutal ending. I can't imagine having someone send a game that's like made just for me as a fuck you. That's honestly so cool. And the area was so cool in it. The narrator really can't take a hint though. I mean, it was like way too obvious to be a hint, but here we are in the subway. I hope the original creator found someone more suited to their taste to play their games. Yeah, though, this is really nice. I agree with you, Kiri. All the clocks don't have hands. So that door opens. That's probably where I'm supposed to go. I thought the game would just end there. I guess it would have been a sad note to end on, though. Maybe it kind of gets happier.
Solution. 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 I guess if someone had told me ahead of time that he just really enjoyed making prison games, maybe I wouldn't have thought he was so desperate. I wouldn't have told so many people that he was depressed. Maybe he just likes making prisons.
I think he was right about the guy being depressed. But I think that, like, the worst thing you can do for a depressed person is to tell all their friends that they're depressed. You should just talk to him. All the vocals in Coda's game seem to be done by a woman. Oh, so maybe Coda's a woman.
Even now, the disease is telling me to stop. Don't show people what a shitty person you are. They'll hate you.
Yeah, you don't really come across very well in this. Oh, look at this. Interesting because it represents tendency in Davy to fundamentally misrepresent Coda. Doesn't even get their gender right. Yeah, the narrator is certainly something. Whoa, look at this area. This cave section is your favorite. I really like the subway.
If I knew that my life depended on finding something to be driven by other than validation, what would that even be? It's strange, but the thought of not being driven by external validation is unthinkable. Like, I actually cannot conceive of what that would be like.
Lighting is so good too. Like the soft colors. And then here where it's like very artificial blue light in your face that kind of drives you forward.
What now? I think I need to go. And I'm sorry, because I know that I said that I would be here and I would walk you through this, but I'm starting to feel like I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot that I need to make up for, and so I'm just gonna... Okay.
There's no way he shuts up for the rest of that epilogue. He can come back and be like, hey guys, I'm back. This is neat, like Talos Principle almost. Game is fiction. Yeah, I know. I would feel kind of scummy continuing to play it if this was real, honestly. Although I would probably finish it because I did spend money on it. If it was free, though, I might have stopped. Although honestly, my curiosity probably would have kept me going. Okay, 6B, caret, semicolon. Oh. This whole thing is shifting up. Or the walls are shifting down. Oh, I thought if I missed it, it was gonna keep going up. Back at the start, but there's no clock. Interesting. What do you think? Will this kill us or will we levitate? Nice. Oh wow. I think that's just one thing repeated. That was an interesting game. I guess at the end, Davey finally stopped. I did not expect this game to be that much of a downer, but it was really good. Who created the epilogue then? Was that Davey? Trying to emulate Coda? It's the only one without a date. I don't think there's any particular creator in the plot. Well, it would make sense if he's still searching for validation that he would try to emulate Coda's work. That's my headcanon anyways. And that's why the puzzle wasn't in it. Or the lamppost. Although apparently the lamppost was actually added by Davey.
Yep, in this game you can only walk backwards.
I said there was a way to turn off his talking.
So it's a short and relatively minimalist experiment combining motion and narrative. It is less advanced than the previous game, but actually it seems to be more focused, more complete. Code is trying to give it a unique voice rather than simply basing it on a pre-existing trope.
Also disables things like him freeing you from the prison cell. Would it also disable, I guess the auto advance is always on. Might make the cleaning game endless. I'd imagine there'd be an end to the dialogue. Or it would start looping. Ha! Speedrun, speedrun. Speedrun. I didn't want to do the ultra rude option, but I do want to do new options. I'm trying to figure out when the dishes get put back on the table. Oh, there it goes. Wait, I can do it through the wall? Speedrun. No! Aww. Well, at least we got to see some new dialogue. I don't feel like seeing the rest of the dialogue, though. Alright, let's replay the intro now that I can look around. So that means there is still gonna be like a 2-ish minute timer. So, we have to be a little bit fast. Oh, look at that. That I didn't get to see last time. The joys of movable camera. It's a green cube. It definitely looks a lot more goofy when you can look around. Skylight, that's just a big hole. Pretty cool. Black cubes. Can't jump. It's pretty cool of Valve to put out the Source engine so other people can make games. Kind of makes me want to try out Source. Oh! Yeah, you're right, you can jump with space. You don't think there's a time limit here? Well, if the other game had a time limit, this one probably does. Also, it would have been really funny if right after you posted that, it cut to black. Wait, can you... Okay, no, you can't crouch jump. Oh, man. There it goes. Oh, get owned. Game understander.
Warning. Whisper machine active. Ship destruction imminent.
That gets so blurry from far away, wow.
Security hull breached. Hostile alien life form inbound.
There's definitely a room behind it, because the shots go there. Oh wow, you can jump in every game.
Enemy force neutralized. Begin ship evacuation.
Is it gonna let us do the labyrinth? Easy game.
Hey, you there, in the engine room. You could save us all. That beam is powering a whisper machine. We could disrupt it by introducing a great enough heat signature. If your body could stop the beam. It's so much to ask, but for all of our lives, would you do it? Could you give yourself?
Probably one of the coolest games. It actually is like a game structure, because you start off, you get the gun, and then there's that enemy spawner room, and then a labyrinth, and then a dramatic finale. It's a 3-act structure, I think. Pretty cool. Take notes for Temple of Nowhere. So true. So that it would still take you out of it. I'm curious if you could still do the use button to go fast. Jumping helps you go faster. If you jump at the right time, though, it goes faster if done the right rhythm. At least it'll be easier to read without him talking. But yeah, I actually can't press the use button to go faster now. That's kind of funny. I was hoping if you did chapter select with no narration, you would get to see the quote-unquote original game. But the fact that the cleaning simulator doesn't loop means probably can't. Try enter? No, enter doesn't work. Tunic. You're a gate. Key in one game unlocks a door to a completely separate game. Giant blocks of text. Can walk through walls. You run a shop inside your own body, selling your organs strategically? That's kind of a banger idea. Stranger appears. Read an enemy's email on how to beat them. I think I've read all of them at this point. Kinda sucks that auto progressives. Yeah. I mean, I get why there's no original game mode, because, you know, Davey fucked with everything. It's kind of the whole point of the game. I don't think Davey would, Oh, it didn't remove the walls. This game, I think, went on longer than it did. Oh, never mind. and stood in there for 25 minutes. Ah. Now that I know how to jump, this game is a lot more possible to make it through. Probably the scariest game, just because so intuitive controls. Yeah, I love that you can't jump on controller. That's very good. What was I saying? I don't know. Scary. Oh yeah, this is the part I said was scary. It's gonna do it. Then we get stopped by a thing. Put me in, coach. Doesn't even let you in. You have to get in before you can get out. Can't tell if it's broken or delayed. Probably gonna end it here either way. Gotta figure out who called me. Someone called me at like the very end of the game, and I was like, I don't wanna stop playing right at the very end when he was doing his whole monologue. But I should check that. But yeah, if you enjoyed this look at the beginner's guide, leave a like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.